She entered the manor in simple clothes and was met with laughter. No one believed that such a humble cook could get the wealthy entrepreneur's son to eat. But when the boy tasted the first spoonful of her dish, everyone was in shock. Aifa stepped off the bus aérienne, her legs aching. She had traveled all night just to make it to that job interview. The old backpack on her shoulders weighed heavily, but not as much as her desperate need for the job. She looked at the address, scribbled on a crumpled piece of paper, and took a deep breath. Ballynahoe Manor. The black wrought-iron gate gleamed so brightly she could see her own reflection. She pressed the doorbell and waited. The simple clothes she wore were clean, carefully ironed, but it was obvious they didn't suit the place. Worn flip-flops, jeans with a patch on the knee, a faded cotton blouse. Aifa knew this, but she also knew how to cook like no one else. The gate opened with an electronic whir. She entered slowly, treading on the cobblestone path that led to the main entrance. The manor was enormous, 3 stories of pure luxury, with immense windows, an impeccable garden, a fountain in the middle of the lawn. Aifa had never seen anything like it in her life. "Can you come in through the side?" a female voice shouted from afar. Aifa walked around the house and found a smaller door. She pushed it open and entered a kitchen that looked like it was out of a magazine. Marble everywhere, stainless steel appliances, a central island bigger than the living room of the house she lived in. 3 women in uniform stopped what they were doing and looked at her. "You're here for the interview?" one of them asked, stifling a laugh. "I am," Aifa replied firmly. The woman who spoke was tall, slender, with her hair in a perfect bun, an impeccable uniform, and the posture of someone in charge. Maeve, the house manager. She gave a short laugh and looked Aifa up and down. "Seriously? In those clothes?" The other 2 women chuckled too. Aifa felt her face flush, but she didn't avert her gaze. "I came a long way. Left at dawn. Didn't have time to change." "A long way," Maeve repeated, crossing her arms. "From where exactly?" "From rural County Clare. I took 3 bus aérienne services to get here." "3 buses?" Maeve echoed with irony. "And you think you're suitable to cook in this house?" "I know how to cook well. I came to try." Cormac, the butler, entered the kitchen carrying a silver tray, stopping when he saw Aifa and raising his eyebrows. "Is this the candidate?" "She is," Maeve replied, laughing. "Can you believe it?" Cormac looked at Aifa's flip-flops and shook his head. "Maeve, I think there's been a mistake. This isn't an ordinary house. We serve high-standard meals here. I know how to make good food," Aifa insisted. "I didn't come here to waste anyone's time." "Good food?" one of the maids scoffed. "Here we need haute cuisine, not pub grub." Aifa tightened her backpack strap. She wanted to leave, but she couldn't. She desperately needed that job. The money she saved each month barely covered her rent. Working in a house like this could change everything. "Can I at least try?" she asked, looking directly at Maeve. "Try what?" "We don't have a vacancy for a home-style cook. This is another level." At that moment, Aifa looked through the enormous kitchen window and saw something that made her heart ache. A small boy was sitting alone on the garden bench, too thin, his face pale, eyes dull, shoulders slumped. He was staring into space, slowly swinging his legs. "Who is that boy?" Aifa asked softly. "Liam, the master's son," Maeve replied. "Why? He looks sad. That's none of your concern." But Aifa couldn't look away. There was something about that little boy that resonated with her. Something familiar. The way he sat there, completely alone in an enormous garden, as if the world had forgotten him. The front door slammed shut. Quick footsteps echoed down the corridor. A tall man in a grey suit entered the kitchen, his phone glued to his ear. He spoke loudly, irritably. "I don't want excuses. I want results. This is the 15th professional who's failed. Declan Murphy, the owner of the house. Dark hair, a well-groomed beard, but his eyes carried a profound exhaustion. He hung up the phone and tossed it onto a chair. "Maeve, has anyone shown up for the vacancy?" "She has, Mr. Murphy." "But," Maeve pointed at Aifa without saying a word. Declan looked and frowned. "Is this the candidate?" "Yes, sir." He sighed deeply and ran a hand over his face. "Look, miss, I don't have time for games. I've hired dietitians, renowned chefs, specialists of all kinds. No one has managed to solve the problem." "What problem?" Aifa asked. "That doesn't matter. What matters is that I need someone truly qualified." "Mr. Murphy." Aifa stepped forward. "I don't have a diploma from a fancy school. I haven't worked in a Michelin-starred restaurant, but I know how to make real food." "Real food?" he repeated, tired. "Yes. Food that nourishes more than just the body." Declan was about to reply but stopped. He looked at Aifa more closely. There was something in her voice, a conviction that the other professionals lacked. And what does that mean? It means good food isn't just about expensive spices or French techniques. It's about care, attention, understanding who will eat it. Maeve let out a dry laugh. Mr. Murphy, with all due respect, I think you're wasting your time. Let her speak, Declan said, not taking his eyes off Aoife. I came a long way because I desperately need this job, Aoife continued. I'm not here to impress anyone with nice clothes. I'm here because I know I can help. Help how? Aoife looked out the window again. Liam was still sitting in the same spot, immobile. The boy out there, he's not well, is he? Declan's face changed completely. The irritation vanished, replaced by deep sorrow. He's not, he replied quietly. He hasn't been well for a long time, and all the professionals you hired tried to solve it with technique, with science, with rules. And you think you can do it differently? I think I can try in a way no one has tried yet. Food that touches his heart. Declan fell silent. He looked at Maeve, who shook her head in disbelief. He looked at Cormac, who shrugged. He looked back at Aoife. You have one day, he said. One day to make my son eat something. If you succeed, the job is yours. If you don't, never set foot here again. I accept. Excellent, Maeve. Show her the kitchen. He left the room without looking back. Maeve crossed her arms and sighed irritably. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. I don't, Aoife agreed, but I'll find out. Cormac gave a short laugh. Good luck. You'll need a miracle. Aoife placed her backpack on a chair and rolled up her sleeves. She looked out the window one more time. Liam was still there, alone, lost in his own world. I don't believe in miracles, she said softly. I believe in food made with love. And at that moment, she didn't know it, but she was about to change that family's life forever. Aoife spent the first hour exploring every corner of that immense kitchen. She opened drawers, checked the pantry, tested the 6-burner stove. Everything was professional, expensive, perfect, but cold. That place had no soul. Do you really think you'll succeed? One of the maids asked as she wiped the counter. I'll try. 15 professionals have been through here. Dietitians, award-winning chefs, even a specialist who came from another country. No one has managed to get the boy to eat properly. Aoife stopped rummaging in the cupboards and looked at the woman. How long has he been like this? Months, ever since Mrs. Orla passed away. The name hung in the air. Orla, Liam's mother. Aoife didn't need to ask anything else. She understood everything in that instant. He stopped eating because he misses her, Aoife said softly. He stopped everything, playing, smiling, talking properly. He just stays quiet in his room or sitting in the garden. Aoife felt her chest tighten. She knew that kind of pain well. The pain of losing someone who was your whole world. Where is he now? In his room. He always locks himself in there. Can I go up? The maid hesitated. Maeve won't like it. Maeve doesn't need to know. Aoife slowly ascended the marble staircase. The second floor was as luxurious as the rest of the house. Expensive paintings on the walls, soft carpets, crystal chandeliers, but it remained lifeless, devoid of children's laughter, no sounds of play. She stopped in front of a white door with astronaut stickers. She knocked lightly. Liam, can I come in? Silence. She slowly turned the doorknob and pushed the door open. The room was enormous. A 4-poster bed, shelves full of books, a box overflowing with toys, but the boy was huddled in an armchair near the window, looking out. Hello, Liam. My name is Aoife. He didn't turn his head, continuing to gaze at the garden below. Aoife entered and sat on the floor, near the armchair. She didn't try to force conversation. She just sat there in silence, respecting his space. After a few minutes, she spoke softly. Your garden is very beautiful. I bet you like to play there. Nothing. I also had a garden when I was little. It wasn't as big as yours, but it had flowers my mother planted. I used to help water them. Liam shifted slightly in his chair, but didn't speak. Do you know what I liked most? It was when my mother cooked. The smell filled the whole house. You could smell it from afar. This time, the boy turned his face just a little. He still wasn't looking at her, but he was paying attention. Do you like any special food? Aoife asked gently. Silence again. It's okay if you don't want to talk, but I'm going to prepare something tasty for you. May I? Liam finally looked at her. His eyes were large, dark, full of a sadness no child should carry. He studied her face for a few seconds, and then looked back at the window. Aoife went down to the kitchen with a heavy heart. That boy was suffering in a silent, profound way. It wasn't hunger he felt. It was absence, the absence of something no food could replace, but she would try anyway. She opened the enormous fridge and took out lamb, root vegetables, potatoes, simple ingredients, No complicated recipes or sophisticated dishes, just real food. Food that warms you from within. Maeve entered the kitchen and stopped when she saw what Oife was preparing. "You're joking, right?" "I'm not. Lamb stew with mashed potatoes." "Is this serious?" "It is." Maeve let out a loud guffaw. "We've had a chef here who studied in France. He prepared dishes that cost a fortune in restaurants. Do you know what the boy did? He didn't even look at the plate. Perhaps he doesn't need an expensive dish. Perhaps he needs a dish with feeling." "Feeling?" Maeve shook her head. "You're too naive. This boy is beyond any food. He needs professional treatment." "Maybe, but I'm going to try my way." Cormac also entered, curious. Bridget, the dietitian, created a complete menu with vitamins, proteins, all calculated. It didn't help at all. Then there was Chef Ronan, another maid commented. That French-trained chef with an award-winning restaurant made dishes that looked like works of art. The boy didn't even touch them. Oife continued cooking without replying. The lamb was tender, the vegetables perfectly cooked, the potatoes creamy. She seasoned it simply with herbs and pepper. She placed everything on a simple tray. No exaggerated decoration, just honest food. "Good luck," Maeve said with irony. "You'll need it." Oife slowly climbed the stairs, holding the tray carefully. The aroma rose with her, filling every corner of that cold manor. She stopped in front of Liam's bedroom door and took a deep breath. She knocked lightly. Nothing. She turned the doorknob and entered. The boy was again in the armchair by the window, looking out. But this time, as soon as she entered, he turned his head. He smelled the food. Oife saw his eyes widen, saw his entire little body tense, saw him grip the arms of the armchair tightly. "I brought you something special," she said, placing the tray on the small table. Liam continued to stare fixedly at the plate. His small hands gripped the armchair more and more tightly. "This dish," he said in a thin, trembling voice. These were the first words he had spoken to her. "This smell. It was your mother's favorite, wasn't it?" Tears began to stream down the boy's face. He didn't wipe them away, just let them fall. "She made it for me every week," he whispered. "Every Sunday." Oife knelt in front of him. "Then she loved you very much, because food made with love has a special seasoning that no one sees, only feels. She's not here anymore." "I know, darling, I know. I can't eat without her." Oife gently held his small hands. "Do you know what I think? I think your mother would be very happy to see you eating her favorite dish. She would be happy knowing you're taking care of yourself." Liam looked at her with those big, sad eyes. "You think so?" "I'm sure." He slowly let go of her hands and picked up the fork. His hands trembled so much he almost dropped it. Aif didn't help. She just stayed there quietly, giving him space to decide. Liam took a small piece of lamb, looked at it intently, as if seeing something far beyond the food, and brought it to his mouth. He chewed slowly and began to cry harder, but he didn't stop eating. He took another piece, then another, then a spoonful of potatoes, then more lamb. He cried and ate and cried, as if each forkful brought back a tiny piece of the mother who had left. I felt her own tears stream down. She remembered Niamh in the hospital, eating a hearty meal even when she was so frail. She remembered her smile, the way she used to say, "It's delicious, ma'am. Is it tasty?" Aifee asked softly. Liam nodded, still crying. Exactly how she made it. "Then eat a little more for your mother." He ate half the plate, then stopped, exhausted, dropped the fork, and slumped into the armchair, still crying, but in a different way, as if releasing something that had been trapped for a very long time. At that moment, the door opened. Declan entered slowly, his eyes red. He had seen everything through the room's security camera. He had seen his son eat for the first time in months. He had seen his son cry. He had seen that humble cook do what 15 expensive professionals couldn't. He had cried too. "Liam," he said, his voice choked. The boy looked at his father. "Dad, she made it just like Ma'am did." Declan knelt in front of his son and hugged him tightly. Liam clung to him and continued crying. Father and son embraced, releasing all the pain they had held for so long. Aoife slowly stood up, picked up the tray, and was about to leave the room when Declan said, "Thank you." She turned around. She saw a broken man hugging his son. She saw 2 broken hearts beginning to heal. "You're welcome," she said, simply. She went down to the kitchen and found Maeve, Cormac, and the other maids waiting. "Well?" Maeve asked with irony. "He ate." The silence was absolute. "What do you mean, he ate?" Maeve disbelieved. "He ate half the plate." Cormac's eyes widened. "Half? Liam ate half a plate?" "He did." The maids exchanged shocked glances. Maeve turned pale. This isn't possible. It is possible when the food is made with the right seasoning, Afe said. The seasoning most people forget to put in. What seasoning? One of the maids asked, curious. Afe looked at each of them, longing. Food made with longing heals what no medicine can reach. The phrase hung in the air. Maeve was about to reply when Declan came down the stairs. His face was different, less tense. His eyes were still red, but there was something akin to hope there. Afe, he said, can you come here? She followed him to the office, an enormous room with bookshelves, a mahogany desk, expensive paintings on the wall. Declan closed the door and turned to her. What did you do up there? It was. He couldn't finish the sentence, just covered his face with his hands. I didn't do anything extraordinary, Afe said softly. I just cooked with feeling. You gave me back my son. Your son was always here. He was just lost in pain. Declan wiped his eyes and looked at her. I need to know how you knew it would work. Afe hesitated, then took a deep breath. Because I also lost someone very special. And I know that food is memory. It's love frozen in time. When we eat something a special person made, it's as if they come back for a few minutes. Who did you lose? My daughter, Niamf. The answer dropped like a stone in the middle of the office. Your daughter, Declan repeated softly. She passed away a while ago, and the last dish I made for her in the hospital was a chicken stroganoff. That's why I knew. I knew your son would feel the love in that dish, because I poured all the longing I feel for my girl into that pot. Declan fell silent, processing. The job is yours, he said finally. For as long as you want to stay, thank you. No, thank you for believing when no one else did. Afe left the office with a full heart. She went upstairs again to see Liam. He was lying in bed, finally asleep, his face still marked with tears, but more peaceful. She adjusted the blanket over him and whispered, Your mother must be very proud of you up there. And at that moment, looking at that little boy finally at peace, Afe felt that Neef was also proud of her. Tomorrow would be another day, other challenges would come, but today had been a victory. A victory of longing over pain, of love over despair, of food that nourishes the heart. Afe's first few days at the manor were like a dream. Liam began to eat regularly. Not much, but enough for Declan to breathe a sigh of relief. The boy was still quiet, still carried that sadness in his eyes, but little by little he was coming back. Every morning, Afe prepared his breakfast. Warm, homemade soda bread with butter, freshly squeezed orange juice, chopped fruit. Liam would come down to the kitchen, sit on the high stool, and eat while she cooked. They didn't talk much, but the presence was enough. Auntie Awife, he said one morning, will you make that cake Mom used to make? It was the first time he had called her that, Auntie Awife. Her heart warmed. What cake was it? Carrot cake, with cream cheese frosting. I can do that. Liam gave a small smile, his first true smile since she had arrived there. But not everything was rosy. Maeve watched everything from a distance with a scowl. She saw how Liam grew closer to Aoife. She saw how Declan thanked her every day. She saw how the other staff began to respect that humble cook, and it gnawed at her. Maeve had worked in that house for years. She had been the house manager since before Liam was born. She had served Orla with dedication. She felt she deserved Declan's eternal gratitude. But now, all the attention was on Aoife. She won't last, Maeve muttered to Cormac one afternoon. Why not? Because she doesn't belong here. It's only a matter of time before she shows her true colors. She's doing wonderful work with the boy. She's doing the bare minimum. Anyone could if they were lucky. Cormac shook his head and left, but Maeve remained, plotting. 2 days later, Aoife was preparing lunch when she noticed saffron was missing. She was sure she had seen the jar in the pantry that morning. She searched all the shelves. Nothing. Has anyone seen the saffron? She asked the maids. They all denied it. Strange, but maybe it had run out. Aoife added it to the shopping list and continued working. The next day, Italian olive oil disappeared. Then, black sesame seeds, always expensive. Specific ingredients, and always when she needed them most. This is very strange, she commented to Cormac. Strange, expensive products disappearing. Always. Cormac frowned. I'll talk to Maeve. She controls the pantry. But when he spoke to Maeve, she just shrugged. Perhaps someone is taking things home. You know how it is. Some people just can't resist. The phrase hung in the air with a specific weight. That night, Aoife was tidying her things to leave when Maeve appeared in the kitchen. Aoife, I need to search your backpack. Search? Why? House protocol. When things go missing, we need to check. Aoife felt her face flush. Are you implying I stole something? I'm not implying anything, just following procedure. You can search. Aife opened her backpack and placed it on the counter. Maeve began to rummage, pulled out the old coat, the empty lunchbox, the worn wallet, and then found a jar of Iranian saffron, the most expensive in the pantry. Well, look what we have here. Aif's eyes widened. That's not mine. I didn't put that in there. Of course not, Maeve said with irony. It just appeared on its own, didn't it? Someone put it in my backpack. Who? Who would want to harm you? Cormac entered the kitchen with 2 maids behind him. They all stopped when they saw the jar in Maeve's hand. Found it in her things? One of them asked. Right at the bottom of her backpack. I didn't steal this, Aif repeated, her voice louder. Someone put it there. A setup? Maeve gave a dry laugh. Do you think anyone here would waste time setting you up? At that moment, Declan entered the kitchen. He had heard the argument from the corridor. What's going on here? Maeve turned to him with the jar in her hand. Mr. Murphy, I'm sorry to report, but I found this Iranian saffron in Aif's backpack, the same one that went missing from the pantry yesterday. Declan looked at the jar, then at Aif. Is this true? No, I didn't steal it. Someone put it in my backpack without me seeing. Mr. Murphy, Maeve continued, I didn't want to believe it either, but other things have gone missing in recent days. Imported olive oil, sesame seeds, organic honey, always expensive ingredients. I didn't take any of it. Declan ran a hand over his tired face. Aif, you understand how this looks, don't you? It looks like someone is trying to frame me, or it looks like you took advantage of the trust we placed in you, Maeve completed. Tears began to stream down Aif's face. Not from guilt, but from anger. Anger at being accused of something she didn't do. Anger at seeing the trap working perfectly. Mr. Murphy, I swear on my daughter Niam's memory that I did not steal anything from this house. Your daughter? Maeve feigned surprise. You have a daughter? I did, Aif said through tears. And she taught me to always be honest. I would never take something that isn't mine. Declan fell silent, analyzing. He wanted to believe her, but the evidence was there for everyone to see. Aif, I need some time to think about this. Think about what? About giving me a chance to prove my innocence. Do you have proof? She didn't. There were no cameras in the kitchen, no witnesses, just her word against the planted evidence. I don't, she admitted, defeated. Then I can't keep you working here until this is cleared up. Are you firing me? I'm suspending you until we better understand what happened. Aif wiped her tears with the back of her hand, picked up her backpack, now rummaged through, and began to pack her things. At that moment, Liam appeared at the kitchen door. He was in his pajamas with the teddy bear his mother had given him. He looked at everyone there, at Aif crying, at his father looking tired, at Maeve holding the jar like a trophy. What's happening? He asked in his thin voice. Nothing, darling, Declan said. Go back to your room. Why is Auntie Aif crying? It's adult business. But Liam didn't leave. He stood there, watching everything. Dad, did Auntie Aif do something wrong? Declan hesitated. We're trying to understand. She didn't do anything wrong. She's good, Dad. She helped me when no one else could. She cooks just like Mom. She takes care of me. The boy's voice was getting louder, more desperate. She can't leave, son. It's complicated. No, it's not complicated. She didn't do anything wrong. Aif knelt in front of him. Liam, darling, it's okay. It's not. You're leaving, and I'll be alone again. You're not alone. Your dad is here, but you need to be too. Tears streamed down the boy's face. Aif hugged him tightly, feeling his accelerated little heart beating against hers. I promise I'll come back, she whispered in his ear. I just need some time to sort this out. Promise? I promise. She stood up, picked up her backpack, and walked to the door. She passed Maeve without looking. She passed Cormac, who averted his eyes. She passed Declan, who looked utterly broken. Auntie Aif, Liam shouted. She turned one last time. I won't forget the promise, she said, and when everything is cleared up, I'll be back. She left through the back door and began to walk down the dark street. 3 bus Ariane journeys back home, but this time the tears wouldn't stop falling. Inside the manor, Liam ran to his room and slammed the door shut. Declan tried to enter, but it was locked. Liam, open the door. Silence. Son, please, you sent her away, Liam shouted from inside. You sent away the only person who helped me. I had no choice. You did too. You could have believed her. Declan leaned his forehead against the door. From the other side, he heard his son crying, and for the first time in days, he felt he had made a terrible mistake. A mistake that might have no turning back. Maeve went upstairs with a satisfied smile on her lips. Mission accomplished. That intruder had been removed. Now everything would return to normal. But what she didn't know was that Liam had seen. He had seen her put the jar in Ife's backpack that afternoon when she thought no one was looking, and soon the truth would come out, in a way no one expected. 3 days passed. 3 days that felt like 3 years. Ife couldn't stop thinking about Liam. Was he eating? Had he withdrawn again? Was he suffering again? She tried to look for another job, knocked on 5 family homes, all asked for references, and when they called Ballinahown Manor, Maeve answered and said in a cold voice, "We do not recommend her." The rent money was running out, the fridge was empty, but nothing hurt more than the longing for that little boy. On the 4th day, the phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello, Awife." It was Cormac's voice. "I need to talk to you. It's urgent." "What happened?" "It's Liam. He's not eating. He hasn't eaten anything for 3 days. Absolutely nothing." Awife's heart pounded. "Nothing. Not even water. He only drinks when Mr. Murphy forces him. He's locked in his room, won't talk to anyone. My God. Awife. He's on a hunger strike. And he only says one thing. He'll only eat when you come back." Tears filled her eyes. "But Mr. Murphy suspended me. I can't just show up there. That's why I'm calling secretly. Mr. Murphy is desperate. He knows he made a mistake, but his pride won't let him call you back. And what can I do? Come. Tomorrow morning, I'll leave the gate open. Enter through the kitchen as you always did." Aifa hesitated, to return to a place where she had been humiliated, where her word had been doubted. But then she thought of Liam, the little boy who had clung to her, who had cried in her arms, who had started to smile again because of her. "I'll be there." The next morning, Aifa woke before sunrise, showered, put on the cleanest clothes she had, and took the usual 3 bus Arion services. When she arrived at the manor, the gate was ajar, as Cormac had promised. She entered through the kitchen, empty, silent. It seemed like an abandoned place. She went straight up to Liam's room. The door was closed. She knocked lightly. "Liam, it's me, Auntie Awif." She heard a noise from the other side. Quick footsteps. The door opened forcefully. Liam was thin, very thin. His face pale, deep dark circles under his eyes, chapped lips. He looked at her for a second, as if he couldn't believe it was real. Then he threw himself into her arms, crying, "You came back! You came back!" Aifa hugged him tightly, feeling his 2 prominent little bones. "I came back, my love. I came back. I thought you had abandoned me. Never. I promised I'd come back. Remember? They said you did something wrong, but I know you didn't." "How do you know?" Liam pulled away and looked at her with red eyes. "Because I saw." "Saw what?" "I saw Maeve putting the jar in your backpack. She didn't see me. I was hidden behind the door. The floor seemed to disappear beneath Aifa's feet." "You saw?" "I did. She took the jar from the pantry and put it in your bag when you went to the bathroom. Why didn't you tell your father?" "I tried, but he said I was making it up because I liked you. He said children sometimes get things confused." At that moment, Declan's voice echoed from the corridor. "Liam, who are you talking to?" The door opened. Declan stopped at the threshold when he saw Aife there. "How did you get in here?" "I let her in." Cormac appeared behind him. "Because the boy is starving, and you're too stubborn to do what's right." Declan looked at Liam, at Aifa, at his too thin son, holding her hand as if she were the only solid thing in the world. "Liam, go back to your room." "No, Dad, no. You don't believe me. I saw Maeve putting the jar in Auntie Aoife's bag. We've talked about this. You didn't talk. You said I was making it up. Children sometimes imagine things." "I didn't imagine it," Liam shouted with a strength no one expected. "I saw it with my own eyes." The silence that fell was heavy. Declan looked at his son, saw the certainty in his eyes. He saw the frail conviction of someone speaking the truth. "The cameras," Cormac said softly. "There's a camera in the pantry. If the boy is telling the truth, there's a recording." Declan turned pale. I didn't check the pantry cameras." "Why not?" Ave asked, her voice trembling. "Because I trusted Maeve's word. She's worked here for years. You trusted whoever had been here longer, not whoever was in the right." The sentence stung. Declan knew it. "Let's see the recordings," he said. They all went down to the office. Declan turned on the computer and opened the security system. He searched for the date, the time, the pantry camera, and then they saw Maeve entering the pantry, looking around, taking the jar of saffron, and leaving. The recording followed her walking down the corridor, entering the kitchen, waiting for Oiv to go to the bathroom, opening her backpack, placing the jar at the bottom, closing the backpack, and leaving as if nothing had happened. The proof was there, clear, undeniable. Declan turned off the video and remained silent, his hands trembling, his face red with rage and shame. "Cormac, call Maeve here now." 3 minutes later, Maeve entered the office, stiff and haughty. "Mr. Murphy, do you need something?" I need you to explain this. He turned the computer screen towards her. Maeve watched the video and turned pale. I can explain. Then, explain. I just wanted to protect the house. She appeared out of nowhere, in old clothes, no references, so I decided to frame her. That's not how it was. It was exactly like that. Declan slammed his hand on the table. You destroyed the reputation of an innocent person. You put my son's health at risk. All for what? Out of jealousy. Maeve tried to find words, but they wouldn't come. You're fired. I want you out of this house now, without references, without anything. Mr. Murphy, please, I've worked here for years, and you betrayed my trust in seconds. Get out! Maeve looked at Ife with poorly disguised hatred, then left, slamming the door. Declan turned to Ife. His eyes were moist. I'm so sorry, I truly am. I should have believed you. I should have trusted you. But you were scared, Ife said softly. Scared to trust again, to open up, to let someone into your lives. That doesn't justify it. No, but it explains it. Declan looked at his son. Liam held Ife's hand tightly, as if she would disappear if he let go. Can you forgive me? Declan asked. I can. If you promise me one thing, anything, promise you'll always believe your son, even when it seems impossible. Declan looked at Liam. I promise, and promise you'll let him be a child again. Laugh, play, make a mess. Don't let sadness steal his childhood. I promise. Ife nodded. Then I accept your apologies. Are you coming back to work here? I am, but on one condition. What is it? I need to tell you something. About myself. About why I understand your pain so well. Declan gestured for her to continue. Ife took a deep breath. She was going to tell the story she had kept hidden for so long. The story that hurt too much to speak. I had a daughter. Her name was Neem, the most beautiful girl in the world. Liam looked at her attentively. Neem had a smile that lit up any room. She loved to eat. She always asked me to cook, and her favorite dish was. Her voice broke. Ife wiped away the tears that began to fall. It was chicken stroganoff. Declan's eyes widened. The same one you made for Liam. The same. Because that was the dish I made for her every week. It was our tradition. Every Sunday, stroganoff. What happened to her? Liam asked softly. She got very, very sick. She spent her last months in a hospital, and every day I brought her food, because even when she was frail, she would eat what I made. The tears streamed down without stopping. Then, on the last day I spent with her, do you know what she asked for? She asked for stroganoff. I made it with all the love I had. I took it to the hospital. She ate 3 spoonfuls, smiled at me, and said, "It's delicious, ma'am. You're the best cook in the world." Declan covered his face with his hands. She passed away that night in her sleep. And do you know what the last thing she ate was? The stroganoff I had made with so much love. That's why you knew, Declan said, his voice choked. You knew it would work with Liam. I knew, because food isn't just nutrition. It's memory, it's love. It's our way of saying, I care about you, without using words. Ife knelt in front of Liam. That's why I poured all the longing I feel for Neem into that dish. Because I wanted you to feel the same love I felt for her. The same love your mother felt for you. Liam hugged her tightly. Thank you, Auntie Ife. You're welcome, my love. Declan approached and placed a hand on her shoulder. You're not just a cook, you're part of this family now. Ife looked at him. She saw a broken man beginning to heal. She saw a father learning to trust again. She saw a family rebuilding itself. Liam, she said, how about we go downstairs and I make you a snack? You're too frail. Can you make stroganoff? She smiled through her tears. I can make anything you want. Then I want stroganoff, and carrot cake, and homemade scones, and everything else you know how to make. Ife laughed. For the first time in days, she laughed for real. There'll be enough food for the whole week. So the 3 of them went down to the kitchen, and for the first time, that enormous manor felt like a real home. A home where food was made with love, where wounds began to heal, where 2 broken families were coming together to form something new, something stronger than pain, something called hope. 2 weeks passed since Ife had returned to the manor, and it was as if the entire house had woken from a deep sleep. Liam was no longer that thin, sad boy who sat in the armchair staring into space. Now he ran through the garden, laughed loudly, climbed trees, and came back into the house covered in dirt. And Ife didn't complain. She just smiled, seeing that little boy finally being a true child. Auntie Ife, look what I found, he shouted one morning, entering the kitchen all dirty. What is it? A bird's nest? But it's empty. I think the chicks have flown, just like you, she said, smiling. You were in a sad nest. Now you're flying again. Liam hugged her around the waist, leaving dirt marks on her clothes. "It's because of you, Auntie." Aif's heart warmed. That boy had become a part of her, as if he were the child she hadn't had the chance to raise. Declan entered the kitchen at that moment, already dressed for work. He stopped when he saw the scene, a happy son hugging the cook who had saved his life. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning, Dad. Today I'm going to help Auntie Aife make some chocolate brownies." "Chocolate brownies? Since when do you like to cook?" "Since Auntie said that cooking is making magic with pans." Declan smiled. That smile was still rare, but it was appearing more and more. "Can I help too?" he asked. Aife and Liam exchanged surprised glances. "You want to cook?" Liam asked, disbelieving. "But you can't even crack an egg cleanly." "Then I'll learn if you both teach me." Aife felt something different in her chest. Declan had never entered the kitchen to cook, only to eat or solve problems. But now he was there, taking off his expensive suit jacket, rolling up the sleeves of his dress shirt. "First step," she said, "is to wash your hands." Declan obeyed like a dedicated student. Liam found the scene hilarious. His father, always so serious, standing in front of the stove, waiting for instructions. "Now, melt that chocolate and butter together," Aife instructed. Declan took the bowl. He heated it, but managed to burn the chocolate a little, creating a smoky whiff. Liam gave a loud laugh. "Dad, you're terrible at this." "I'm learning." Declan laughed too. "Everyone starts somewhere." Aife added flour, sugar, and taught the two of them to mix it without lumps. Declan spilled some flour. Liam ended up with chocolate on his nose, but they were laughing, the three of them together, laughing for real. When the chocolate brownies were finally ready, they ate them right there around the stove, without a formal table, without etiquette, just an improvised family enjoying the moment. "You know, Declan," Aife said, wiping chocolate from the corner of Liam's mouth, "it's been a long time since I felt like this." "Like what?" Aife asked. "Light, as if a weight has been lifted from my shoulders." "That's because you stopped carrying it alone," she said softly. "Shared grief is lighter." Declan looked at her with gratitude. "Thank you for everything. You don't need to thank me. I do. You didn't just save my son. You saved me too." Liam licked his chocolate-stained fingers. "Auntie Aife, can I ask you a question?" "Of course. Will you always stay with us?" The question caught her by surprise. "I'll stay as long as you need me. And if we need you forever?" Aife looked at Declan, who was also waiting for the answer. "Then I'll stay forever," she said. "Finally." Liam cheered, jumping. "Yay, now we're a real family." Declan smiled. "Yes, I think we are." That afternoon, while Liam played in the garden, Declan called Aife to his office. "I need to talk to you about something important." She sat in the chair opposite his desk, a little apprehensive. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, quite the opposite." Declan pulled out a folder. "I've noticed that every week you take part of your salary and put it in a separate envelope." Aife looked embarrassed. "You saw me, sir?" "I did, and I was curious. What is that money for?" She hesitated, then took a deep breath. "It's for a project I have. An old dream." "What project?" "When Neve got sick, she spent a lot of time in hospital, and there were other children there too. Children whose families didn't have money for proper treatment, for good food, for anything." Declan listened in silence. Niamh always said that when she got well, she would help those children. She would create a place where they could be treated for free, with doctors, medicine, and food made with love. "An institute," Declan completed. "Yes, Niamh's haven, but to open a place like that, you need a lot of money. So I've been saving little by little. It will take years, maybe decades, but one day I'll succeed." Declan was silent for a moment, then smiled. "What if I told you I have a proposal to accelerate that dream?" "What do you mean?" Orla also had a dream. She wanted to open a restaurant, not just any restaurant, but a place where people felt at home, where the food was made with care. Aife listened attentively. "After she passed, I abandoned that project. It didn't make sense without her. But now," Declan leaned forward, "now it makes sense again. You want to open the restaurant?" "I do, but not alone. I want you to be my partner." Aife's eyes widened. "Partner? You take care of the kitchen, the recipes, the soul of the place. I'll take care of the financial and administrative side, and a portion of the profits will go to Neve's Haven." "Mr. Murphy, I don't know what to say." "Say you accept." Tears began to fall. "But why? Why are you doing this?" "Because you gave me back my son. Because you brought life back to this house. Because you deserve to fulfill your daughter's dream." Aife covered her face with her hands, crying. Declan walked around the desk and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Besides," he said softly, "Orla would be happy. She always wanted the restaurant to help people, and Neem's Haven will do exactly that. I accept, Aif said through tears. I accept to be your partner, Declan smiled. Excellent, let's start planning. In the following weeks, the manor became a mix of a home and an architectural office. Restaurant plans spread across the living room table, paint samples, fabric for tablecloths, dishes to test. Liam loved to participate, giving his opinion on everything. He said the chairs had to be comfortable, because children don't like sitting stiffly at the table, and there had to be a children's menu with drawings. And the name? He asked one evening during dinner. What will the restaurant be called? Declan and Afi exchanged glances. They had already discussed it. We want your opinion first, Declan said. My opinion? But I'm a child, a smart child. So, what name would you give it? Liam thought seriously, slowly chewing his food. Then he looked at Afi. Auntie, your daughter liked stars. She did. She loved looking at the night sky. And Mom too, Liam said. She always said stars were angels watching over us. Afa felt her chest tighten. So, Liam continued, the restaurant could be called the 2 Stars, because of Mom and Neef. The silence that fell was filled with emotion. Declan blinked quickly to ward off tears. Ive couldn't hold them back. The 2 Stars, she repeated. Perfect. Oh, but it's not just 2 stars, Liam corrected. It's the 2 Stars restaurant, and the logo has to have 2 stars shining in the sky. One for Mom and one for Neem. Declan stood up, walked around the table, and hugged his son. You're incredible. You know, I learned from the right people, Liam replied. That night, after Liam had gone to sleep, Declan and Aife stayed in the kitchen drinking tea. You know, he said, when Orla passed, I thought I'd never be able to move forward again. And you did? I did. Because you appeared. Because you persisted when everyone else gave up. I didn't do anything extraordinary. You did too. You did what no one else could. You brought love back to this house. Aife stirred her tea in silence. Neef would be proud of you, Declan said. Of what you're building in her name. I hope so, because everything I do is to honor her memory. She knows, I'm sure she's seeing everything from up there. Aif looked out the window. The sky was filled with stars. 2 stars shone brighter than the others. I think you're right, she whispered. Declan followed her gaze. Orla and Neve together, watching over us. It's funny how life works, Aif said. I came here just for a job, and I found a family, and we needed a cook, and we found much more than that. They stayed there in comfortable silence, looking at the stars. Upstairs, Liam wasn't sleeping. He was at his bedroom window, looking at the same stars. Ma'am, he whispered to the sky. I think you sent Auntie Awife to us. Thank you. I promised to take care of her, just like I take care of Dad. A gentle breeze rustled the curtains as if someone had replied. And that night, for the first time in a long time, the 3 of them slept in peace, because they had found something they thought they had lost forever. A home, a family, a future, and the certainty that love doesn't end when someone leaves. It continues through those who stay, through every dish made with care, through every child helped, through 2 stars that shine in the sky. Orla and Neve, forever together, forever watching. 3 months later, the facade of the 2 Stars restaurant gleamed under the night lights. The sign featured 2 intertwined golden stars, exactly as Liam had imagined. Every detail of the place had been conceived with love. Rustic wooden tables, comfortable chairs, the aroma of home-cooked food filling every corner. Aife was in the kitchen, overseeing the final preparations for the grand opening. Her hands trembled with nerves, but her heart was calm. This was real. Neve's dream was coming true. Auntie Aife. Liam rushed into the kitchen, all dressed up in formal clothes. There's loads of people outside. There are? Yes. And Dad's nervous too. She smiled. Being nervous is normal. It means we care. Are you nervous? I am, but it's good nervous. Liam hugged her waist. Mom and Neef must be so proud. Awif knelt in front of him. Do you know what I think? I think they're here with us. Invisible, but present. I think so too, he whispered. Declan appeared at the kitchen door. Everything's ready. We can open the doors. Aife took a deep breath, removed her apron, and followed the 2 of them to the main dining area. When the doors opened, a crowd poured in. Friends, acquaintances, people from the community. But amidst everyone, one group caught Aife's attention. Children, 15 children accompanied by nurses, all wearing t-shirts with Neve's Haven logo. What? Aife looked at Declan, confused. Surprise, he said, smiling. I used part of the restaurant's investment to accelerate the institute. It's already up and running, helping children in need. Tears filled her eyes. It's already running? And these are the first 15 children being treated there. I brought them here to eat today. Auf covered her mouth with her hands, crying. The children approached shyly. Are you Auntie Aufe? A little girl asked. Are you the auntie who lost Niyam and built the institute to help us? Aufe knelt down to their height. That's right. Thank you, the girl said. My mom said that without the institute, I wouldn't have a way to get better. What's your name? Sausha. The name echoed in Aif's chest. She was the same age Neef would be now. Sausa. Today you and your friends will eat the best stroganoff in the world, the same one I made for my daughter. The little girl's eyes sparkled. Really? Truly. Aifa returned to the kitchen with a pounding heart. She prepared the stroganoff with all the love she had. Each movement was a silent prayer, each seasoning a tribute. When she served the dishes to the children, she watched. Sausha took the first spoonful, closed her eyes, and smiled. It's delicious, Auntie. The same words Neef had said. Aife had to leave the room so she wouldn't break down right there. She went to the back of the restaurant, where there was a small garden. She sat on a bench and looked at the sky. 2 stars shone brightly. Neem, she whispered. We did it, my daughter. We made your dream come true. Those children in there are being helped because of you. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees. I know you're no longer here with me, but I feel you close every day, in every smile of those children, in every dish I prepare. Declan approached slowly and sat beside her. Are you all right? I am. I was just talking to her. She heard, I'm sure. Aif rested her head on his shoulder. Thank you for everything, for believing in me, for making this dream real. You made it real. I just helped. You helped a lot, more than you know. They stayed there for a few minutes in comfortable silence, looking at the stars. You know, Declan said, Orla always said that the best things in life aren't planned. They appear when you least expect them. She was right. You appeared when I least expected it, and saved everything I held most dear. Aif looked at him. You saved me too. You gave me purpose again. You showed me that I can still make a difference. We saved each other, he corrected, and now we're going to help a lot of people together. They returned inside the restaurant. The dining area was full, noisy, alive. Children laughing, people talking, dishes being served. Liam ran up to them. Auntie Auife. Sawasa asked if she could have the stroganoff recipe for her mam to make at home. Of course she can. I'll teach her personally. The night continued perfectly. Every person who ate there left emotional. It wasn't just the food. It was the feeling that came with it, the love that was in every preparation. When the last customer left, it was past midnight. Aife, Declan, and Liam were left alone in the restaurant. The first day was a success, Declan said. It was more than a success, Aife corrected. It was magical. Liam yawned. I'm tired, but it's a good tired. Come, Aife said. Let's sit for a bit before going home. The 3 of them sat at a table near the window. They could see the stars outside. Auntie Auife, Liam said, drowsily. Can I call you something else? Something else? Like what? Like, my second mom? Her heart stopped for a second. You want to call me that? I do. Because I only had one real mom. But you take care of me just like she did. Aif looked at Declan, who nodded encouragingly. It would be an honor, she said. Her voice choked. Liam smiled and leaned his head on her shoulder. Then it settled. Now I have a mom in heaven, and a second mom here. Declan held Aif's hand across the table. Thank you for everything, for never giving up on us. Thank you for letting me be part of this family. The 3 of them sat there, looking at the stars through the window, and at that moment, Aif understood something profound. Neve hadn't left forever. She lived on through the institute, through every child helped, through every plate of stroganoff made with love. Orla hadn't either. She lived on in Liam's smile, in the restaurant she had dreamed of, in the legacy she left, the 2 of them together, watching over those who remained. 2 stars in the sky, lighting the way, proving that true love doesn't end. It merely transforms and continues saving lives every day, in ways we don't always perceive, but that make all the difference. That night, when they returned home, Liam took his drawing book and created something special. He drew 4 people holding hands, Declan, himself, Aif, and above them, 2 figures with wings and halos. Beneath, he wrote in neat handwriting, my family, those who are here, and those who watch from above. He showed it to Aif before going to sleep. She hugged the drawing to her chest and cried. They were tears of gratitude because she had arrived at that manor just looking for a job, and had found a home, a family, and the certainty that her daughter's love would live on through every life saved, through every smile, through every dish made with the heart.